So, have you heard about the recent buzz in the smartphone market? Now, for the past couple of months, the OnePlus 11 has been ruling the sub 60,000 rupees price segment. However, I recently got my hands on the Vivo X90 and I have to say that this phone has a pretty good shot at overthrowing the OnePlus 11 as the best phone in this price range. Now, a full comparison of both these phones is in the works, but for this video, specifically I'll be looking at the endurance of both these smartphones. This is the Fiiber-style battery drain test comparison between the Vivo X90 and the OnePlus 11. Which phone will come out on top? Let's find out. Hello everyone, I'm Ania for Fiiber, and before we get on with the rest of the episode, consider hitting that red subscribe button for detailed tech videos and also turn on the bell so that you don't miss any of our latest updates. With that said, let's get started. For those watching our battery drain test video for the first time, we start off with booting both the phones. In this case, the Vivo X90 is the first one to boot, while the OnePlus 11 took a slight while to boot up. So both phones on the table are 100% charged and have 100% battery health. They are connected to the same Wi-Fi network with the brightness and volume levels set at 50% and dark mode turned on. For the test, we'll be starting with a 2-hour YouTube video playback, followed by an hour of 1080p video recording, followed by an hour of benchmarks, followed by an hour of gaming, and we finally wrap up the test with an hour of running social media. We start off with 2 hours of YouTube video playback, and straight away, let's talk about the gorgeous displays of both these smartphones. The Vivo X90 and the OnePlus 11 share similar specifications when it comes to the displays. That is, you get a curved 10-bit E4 AMOLED panel on both phones with up to 1300 nits brightness, 120Hz refresh rate, and HDR10+ playback support. The bezel treatment is also almost similar, although I do feel that the X90 does have a slight edge here for the slimmer chin. Moreover, the Vivo X90 has a center-aligned hole punch versus OnePlus's corner-aligned hole punch. Now, quality-wise, despite sharing similar specifications and coming with all those video enhancement and video sharpening features, I think it is the Vivo X90 that outputs better colors. You see, the color tuning of the OnePlus 11's panel is very good, but the Vivo X90 has something called Zeiss True Color that you can set from the display settings. This is basically the screen color profile that you get on the Vivo X90, and I don't know what software tuning or trickery Vivo has done here, but the colors, the vibrancy, the contrast, and the overall video watching experience is definitely better on the Vivo X90. Again, not that the OnePlus 11 has a bad display, it has an excellent panel, but the Vivo X90 surely has superior display quality. Anyway, after 2 hours of YouTube video playback, the Vivo X90 is in the lead right now with the 90% battery left. The OnePlus 11 is left with 87% battery. On to the next round, and we'll now run an hour of 1080p video recording on both smartphones and see how much battery both phones consume in an hour of video recording. Specs wise, the Vivo X90 boasts a 50 megapixel primary rear camera coupled with a 12 megapixel telephoto lens and a 12 megapixel ultra wide angle camera. The front is graced with a 32 megapixel lens for selfies. On the other hand, the OnePlus 11 also features a 50 megapixel primary rear camera coupled with a 32 megapixel telephoto camera and a 48 megapixel ultra wide angle camera. At the front, there's a 16 megapixel snapper for selfies. So as I mentioned earlier, a full comparison video is in the works, so definitely stay tuned for that if you want to see which phone's camera is better. Although if I have to pick one subjectively, the OnePlus 11 has a great camera in this budget, I would say. But again, after using the Vivo X90 recently, I am mind blown, and I think the X90 is definitely the better camera phone between the two. So with the 1080p video recording done after 3 hours into the test, the Vivo X90 is still leading with 69% battery left, while the OnePlus 11 has almost caught up and is right behind with 68% battery left in the tank. With that, we'll now run a variety of benchmarks. We start with Geekbench 6, and while the benchmark is running, a quick look at the hardware specifications. The Vivo X90 has a 4810 mAh battery under the hood and is powered by the Dimensity 9200 chip, while the OnePlus 11 has a 5000 mAh battery under the hood and is powered by the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chipset. Now the OnePlus here has an 8 plus 128GB option wherein you get UFS 3.1 storage, while the 16GB model gets 256GB UFS 4.0 storage. The Vivo X90 on the other hand skips the 128GB version in India and only gives a 256GB UFS 4.0 storage option, although you do get to choose between 8GB or 12GB RAM variants. Nonetheless, these are top tier specifications and phones on this budget don't get any better or any faster than this. For now, the Geekbench 6 scores are there, and my oh my, the Vivo X90 outperforms the OnePlus in single core scores. Sure, the phones rely on single core performance for lighter tasks, but a win is a win. And it also shows the optimization on the Vivo X90's part. Multi-score wise, pretty neck to neck performance. Both phones give a top tier showing. Now on to Antutu, and we once again see a dominant showing from the Vivo X90. Overall, the X90 is leagues ahead of the OnePlus 11. Now the GPU scores, if you look at that, both phones are neck to neck, which shows that both phones are pretty apt for playing graphics intensive games, but other areas such as the CPU and the UX, the Vivo X90 and its Dimensity 9200 chip are definitely showing their superiority. So after Antutu, we'll now run 3D Mark to see how good these phones are in terms of sustained gaming performance. By the way, both phones performed pretty decently in the 3D Mark benchmark, but after 20 minutes, the Vivo X90 once again came out on top. You see, while the best loop score of the OnePlus 11 was slightly better, the lowest loop score was way better on the Vivo X90, and if you look at the average, the Vivo X90 scored 73.9% stability versus OnePlus 11's 34.3% stability, which shows the Vivo X90's hardware is better optimized to handle long-term gaming sessions. Finally, after running 3 tough benchmarks, we wrap the benchmarks round by running a 20-minute CPU throttle test. This should give a good idea of the CPU performance, and now that I've already put so much of load on both phones, funny enough, while I have noticed in the real world that the Vivo X90 gives a better sustained performance over the OnePlus 11, in the CPU throttle test, the OnePlus 11 came out on top. Average operations per second is also slightly better on the OnePlus 11. I will tell you a bit more about the performance in the gaming round. For now, the benchmarks are done, and a little over 4 hours, the OnePlus 11 has taken the lead. And how? The OnePlus 11 is left with 43% battery, while the Vivo X90 is far behind with 34% battery left in the tank. So as I was talking about the sustained performance of the Vivo X90 5G, you see, barring aside the CPU throttling test results, in the other 3 benchmarks also, if you trust me, in the real world, it is the Vivo X90 that's going to give you a better overall performance, including superior gaming performance. By the way, did you know both Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 and Dimensity 9200 are equipped to take advantage of ray tracing in games? Although we still don't have mobile games with the ray tracing feature. But long story short, if you're someone looking for pure performance at the expense of some heating under sustained heavy loads, the Vivo X90 gives a pretty solid performance, guys. As for the OnePlus 11, while it doesn't heat as much as the Vivo X90, and you're also getting top-notch performance here, but a few frame drops here and there do appear over long sessions of gaming, which not only break the flow but are also annoying. Anyway, after an hour of gaming and a little over 5 hours, the OnePlus 11 dropped drastically but is still leading with 25% battery left, while the Vivo X90 is trailing right behind with 24% battery left. Finally, we are at the last leg of our battery drain test comparison, as we will now run an hour of Instagram. And finally, after 6 hours of rigorous testing and back and forth, by 1% only, but the Vivo X90 took the lead and is the winner with 17% battery left, while the OnePlus 11 finishes with 16% battery left. Here's a quick hour-by-hour breakdown of the battery drain of both smartphones on your screens. You can pause and take a look. Now, looking at the hourly breakdown, it is evident that when it comes to your usual tasks such as social media, video watching or using the camera, you can expect similar sort of results from both the phones, that is in terms of the battery percentage drop. However, when it came to the benchmarks, you saw the hit Vivo's battery took, but that was at the expense of better scores and better performance. And one would also argue that in that case, the OnePlus 11 should have given better endurance in the gaming round. Well, the benchmarks round took so much out of the OnePlus 11 that in the gaming round, it suffered, it throttled. while the Vivo X90 on the other hand performed reasonably well both in the benchmarks round as well as the gaming round. But yes guys, that was the Vivo X90 versus the OnePlus 11 battery drain test comparison video. A full comparison, as I said earlier, is in the works, so definitely stay tuned to Fiiber for that, and let me know your thoughts about this video in the comments below. As always, for all the latest in tech, stay tuned to Fiiber. I'll catch you all in the next one. Thank you for watching.